share my screen. I looked at this last night and it looks pretty dang easy. All we have to do is talk about hold on, I gotta go back. It's just basically our personal opinions. We don't have to report on any of the readings. I mean, it probably would help if we did, but you know. I don't have to see my baby eating chips for breakfast. Oh, dang it, that's not what I want. Stop. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sure. You're silly. Okay, well, where is it? Right. Discussion leader. Okay, so here's what we have to do. Okay, look how easy this is.
Yeah, we got to stretch it out to 45 minutes. Are you kidding me?
No. We're not doing that. Pretty easy, though. It says, give everyone on your team time to choose one of the following topics to share with the group. Hey, I've got divorce and family issues covered if anybody wants to take that one. Been there, done that.
I'll take substance abuse.
I've got stuff on that too, but hey, you're good.
I think everyone's got at least one.
I really like that work life, home life.
Yeah. I think we can double up.
And Olivia's like, this is what I have to choose from.
You can choose one of ours too, because ours are easy. Same-sex relationships. I don't have a ton of experience with that, so.
I don't either. And okay, so here's the thing: in the workplace, same-sex relationship, dating relationships are the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, gross, but still.
Well, I'll just briefly share what I know on that. My husband is an optometrist. One of his, what? Yeah, it's not on. Here, Eliza, give the dog his medicine. Sorry, multitasking here. Anyway, my husband's and some cream cheese. So my husband's technician was lesbian, but not one of those that was like flaunty kind of. You know, there's different types. Like there's some that love to flaunt it, and you know they want everybody in the world to know, and they kind of make people uncomfortable sometimes, and they kind of enjoy it. And then there's those that are like, this is my choice, you know, but they don't flaunt it, and they're just like, and that's how she was. She never even said, sorry, she never really even talked about it. He mentioned something one day about kids, and she's like, no, I don't have kids, you know, and like how she was perfectly fine with that. And, anyway, so, but it wasn't a really hard thing for him to have to deal with in the workplace because she didn't make it a big deal. Like it just wasn't an issue. You know? So I don't really have any insight on that to how to deal with somebody who does really make it an issue. So not sure. And I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with that. I mean, there's always experience with, you know, foosballs who are sexually harassing people, but yeah, the actual relationship aspect of it, not so much.
Yeah, and I think the whole, well, like PDA problem applies to both, you know, obviously same sex, opposite sex. So being annoying about it and in people's face, that applies to everyone, I think.
Yeah, it gets real great when someone dates the boss and then feels entitled to flaunt it. I'm like, you know that's going to end well.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone who wants to go next on the work-home balance, substance abuse, divorce, family issues?
I like the work-home balance where it talked about it's becoming more popular to be more flexible with your hours and to work from home, so that you can have a better balance with your home life. And in there, it actually says that people work better when they can, well, depending on the person, but people tend to work better when they can set their own hours, when they have more freedom, when they can like see their kids and spend time with family. So I like that because I think that's a good idea. And I want to work a job at home.
I like the idea that, to me, the paradigm shift in work-home balance is when you can set your own hours, it turns work into one of the things you fit into your day, as opposed to having your day revolve around it.
Yeah, that's true. Think about
Olivia?
that.
I think as well, like you don't resent work when it's a choice. Like you choose when you work, so you're not. It's not something that you're gonna gripe about. That, oh, I have to be to work at such and such a time, because you choose when you work. So you have, I guess, you take on that responsibility, and I guess you have more job satisfaction because of it.
Okay. Okay, so we can move on to substance abuse, I guess. And see, it's kind of funky because I've got so there's two members of my family, and both are using substances, but one is using it correctly and one is using it incorrectly. Now, the incorrectly one, I've got this raging alcoholic who is my brother. And this dude, so he'll get a job. And honestly, I don't know how he's still finding jobs. Like, where are all these jobs coming from? So he gets a job because he's poor, and he works, and then he gets his first paycheck, and then he blows it all on booze, doesn't show up to work, gets fired, lather, rinse, repeat, wipe hands on pants. So he'll be dead in about 2 years if he doesn't change anything, and I don't think he's going to change anything. He's had every chance, and it's kind of weird because everything that my brother was, the person that my brother used to be, is dead. And in its place is this raging addict who will steal money and, do all the crazy things. Called up my sister hallucinating, I just killed a guy and had to hide the body, and it's totally in his own head, but he's like physically calling people because he thought it happened. So that's kind of spectacular. And the other one is one of my sisters who she has been chronically ill for years, and we just got a diagnosis like late last year, early this year, and it's 24 years of unchecked Lyme's disease. And it's gone everywhere. And, this woman dies giving birth to children. Like, she hemorrhages, loses half the blood in her body. We're talking like the least sexy problems, abscesses, boils, like an ungodly amount of pain. And she found marijuana. And she uses it therapeutically and medicinally. And she is starting to get her health back. She's now gotten off all of her prescription medications because of what marijuana does for her. So, but the funny part is when you go to get a job, they'll screen you for marijuana, but they don't screen you for alcohol. And let's figure out which one is actually more harmful to the employer.
Oh, I know. That debate drives me nuts. But
And my other sister is the compliance director for the biggest marijuana production operation in the state of Nevada. And so she's in compliance. And so she's the one that's, this is what the regulation says. This is the requirement to make it, be healthy and not have a bunch of people get fungal infections in their lungs because they're inhaling it or whatnot. I personally think inhaling it is like the least efficient way. If you look at like what you actually get out of the plant, it's like, wow, you're literally lighting it on fire. You're burning up over 2/3 of what you're hoping to get. But there's other ways you can process it and prepare it so you don't. And so I hope those take off more because I'm like, guys, it's a weed. It grows everywhere. Please don't light it on fire. It's okay. We can be better. So yeah, that's my shtick on substance abuse.
I've got family members that struggle with substance abuse, and a brother particularly, been in and out of prison a few times, and most of his problems stem from that, from early use, and then just bad choices he's made because of that. And so again, like your brother Shelby can't hold a job very well, is really having a hard time with that. But having a family member who's an addict, and then also having other family members who are, sorry, it's loud again, who have addiction problems like pornography and stuff like that. Just understanding the disease of addiction has been really helpful for me. So I think as an employer, being able to understand the nature of the beast, that addiction truly is a disease. It's like mental illness. You can't tell somebody who's got pneumonia to stop coughing, just like you can't tell an addict to stop using. It just doesn't work like that. Like, they need help. And so from an employer standpoint, somehow being able to address that with compassion and being able to guide them or direct them or have some, that would actually be something to think about with, like we talked a lot about training and whatnot. There could be some kind of training in this area, because guarantee you that the majority of the population struggles with one form of addiction or another, whether it's gambling, pornography, substance abuse, it's there. And employers, co-workers are going to have addictions. And addressing it in the workplace, I don't think is a bad thing. So, I don't know. That's my thoughts.
I think along with addictions, I think what we're seeing in the next generation is addiction to their electronics. So they're addicted to their phone. They can't go without looking at their phone. And I think that's something that employers are having to address, is that they have these people that they've hired, but they can't leave their phone alone through an entire, work shift.
Yeah, and that's got to be like reducing productivity, because being interrupted is a loss of productivity. Every mom understands this. And so when they're constantly have that, they're being pulled towards this screen over and over. There's like, for every time you have to turn away, you're losing 3 times, because you've got to break away to disengage, check that, and then re-engage. So it's costing you 3 for every break. So the other thing I was thinking about on substance abuse is that just using my own family as kind of the control group, because growing up, our parents are like beyond useless. Like, they're the kind of people you make a Lifetime movie out of it at the end, like the law that they passed to make sure that this situation never happens again. Like, they are the example. So we got nothing good from our parents. And there's like, my mom has 8 kids from 3 different guys, but there was 5 of us growing up together in that, like, the nuclear part of it. And we've got 2 caboose kids from one dad and then another kid from the top. But we all got bad things from my mom. We all got a bad character trait of hers. And it's been interesting to see which character traits, which vices that we got from parents did the most damage to our own lives. And my alcoholic brother is by far the worst off. And the thing he got from my mom was entitlement and a love of getting something for nothing. Like, one sibling cannot plan. They're not good at planning to save their lives. One got wrath. Like, man, she can kill you. I got an inability to do housekeeping or decorating of any kind. No cooking, no sewing, no making anything pretty, nothing. Like, I can't even make a tube sock. So we each got things that hurt us, but yeah, his was by far the most destructive.
Yeah, I haven't had any really good, I don't know, I haven't had any experience with substance abuse per se.
Wait, you live in Wisconsin. They drink like someone's going to take it away from them.
That's true. But I mean, I guess in the workplace.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, because there's like a bar in every corner here. So it's pretty normal when you want to go out to eat to go to a bar.
Oh, and then you got bar food. Nasty.
They're all bars and grills, so they have like sit down and then a bar. So, but yeah, not really in the workplace. I know my husband, he worked at a pizza place, and they had a few that would come in like high, like hard drugs, or they had one of his coworkers was an alcoholic, and he always like drank on the job, and like my husband would even tell him, hey man, maybe you should just go home. Like if you can't be here, you're gonna get fired. And just every day, it didn't matter. He'd have to drink at work, and he would come with his McDonald's cup filled with vodka. So
How is that dude liver still functioning?
I know.
That is not a small amount of booze.
No, and it was really sad too. I guess he had a girlfriend he lived with, but they always were fighting, and he was always like being kicked out, finding. And it didn't seem like a great life. But,
what a miserable existence.
yeah,
Ugh.
so that's the only thing I've encountered.
Olivia, I mean, if you have drunks in your family you don't want to talk about, it's totally fine. You don't have to tell us about the drunk in your family.
Not necessarily. I mean, I have relatives that have had problems with that, but I think more so I saw it on my mission, just the people that couldn't get away from it, drink. Well, for us, I mean, it was that we couldn't get them to church because they would drink all night on Saturday and then wouldn't show up. But I mean, it goes for the workplace too, that it's I feel like in a lot of places it's a cultural thing that, they do it because everyone else does it, and it just brings down the whole community because it's accepted. So if in the workplace, it's, I don't know, it's commonplace to go out as colleagues, drinking and partying, then it's going to bring down the value of the workplace because you're encouraging them to do that together.
Yeah, I think it's promoting vice instead of virtue, and that drags down morale.
Can I just comment on that? This is actually how it goes in the business world. My husband in optometry school, we would get invited to different things. They actually had a dance. It was called the eyeball. Ha ha ha.
Funny.
And we thought, oh, how fun, we'll go. And we went, and wow, what an eye-opening experience. His classmates, his teachers coming in like itty-bitty dresses and being completely plastered. And these are your doctors. Like, these are the people who take care of your health. And this is what they do. And to numb, and it's an escape for sure. And so really eye-opening to see that it's totally the norm, and nothing has changed. That's how people celebrate, is with booze. And with every function we'd go to, we would always get our little drink tickets and just go, and he still goes to dinners all the time, and every time he gets a drink ticket, and everybody goes there, and that's just how they numb out. It's what they do. That's why these people go to these work dinners, is to get free beer, free drinks, And it's incredibly sad, but it's so the norm. It's definitely cultural, but how do you? And it's in the work. I mean, the work is actually paying for this. I'm like such conflict of interest there, but okay, that's just how most of the world does it. So I don't understand, and I don't know if I ever will, and I don't enjoy talking to plastered people. But sometimes it's actually kind of funny.
Adults.
Yeah, so So my sister, or like her company, they put on this, party for like this growers association, like this political organization that they're forming to, lobby the state, whatnot, blah blah blah. So they invited this state senator to this shindig that they had going on. And okay, for starters, this guy's first name is Tick, as in blood-sucking animal Tick, and he's in politics. I'm like, and this guy looks like an evil version of Dick Morris, and Dick Morris looks dead. So just think about that. So this dude shows up to this party, and my sister's actually the one at the door, totally by accident when he walks in. He's wearing shorts and like this untucked shirt. He's like, messy hair. This is a state senator. And he's brought his son with him. And this man literally walks into the house where this party is. And Lauren's like, hi, welcome. How are you? She didn't realize who he was. She just knew that guy was coming. And he's like, where's the alcohol? That's like literally the first thing this dude said when he walked in the building.
And that's a politician?
What?
As a politician?
Yeah. And that's when Lauren realized that that's what this man's life looks to him. He walks into a room and someone puts a cup of alcohol in his hand. Because that's normal enough where he feels okay walking into a room full of people he doesn't know and saying, where's the alcohol? Like, that's how far gone this dude is. It's disgusting. Also, he's a politician who's gross.
I mean, that's just crazy when you have that kind of reputation to uphold. I mean, like as a politician. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Everyone sees what you're doing. So it seems like that should be more important.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the guy who sits on the committee that makes the laws for an entire industry.
Yikes.
Yeah, like so disgusting.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Should we do family issues? I think.
Hey, who has divorce and family issues? Line forms to the left.
Talk about it. No, just like you, Shelby. We put the fun and dysfunctional in my family. My dad is on his 5th marriage. Yeah, it is. Wait. Let me turn on my camera. Here we go. Here's my mom. Okay. He's married to my mom. And he and my mom had 5 kids. I'm the youngest of those. And he married again. And the second wife, he had a son, so I have a half brother. And then he married again. That one didn't last very long, thankfully. And he actually divorced her because of me. My stepbrother was a creep. A real creep. So, and then he married the second wife for second time. And then she divorced him that time. And then now he's on number 5. And they've been married for about 10 years. And she's a gem. And they finally are like, they started going back to church. He's a bishopric. Like they got sealed. Good. 5 is good. So
5th time's the charm.
My mom, she's been married 4 times. The first was my dad. The second she had a little boy with him, so I have another half brother. And then the third was my dad in high school, and he actually died from prostate cancer in my senior year. So, and then her 4th husband, she married, and he died about 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So she's had 2 die on her. So divorce and different kinds of families are my specialty.
Good.
No, but in the workplace, people deal with this, and this is normal. And how do you, like, when you have an employee or someone like that, or even yourself going through one of these family crises, like, what do you do? How do you not carry that over to the workplace? Or how do you help somebody who is dealing with that? Like, I like what it said in the article. It said, here's a few tips for managers and HR professionals. Be compassionate, be empathetic, and supportive. Do not act as a problem solver. So having been a child in a dysfunctional family like that, for myself, it created a lot of codependency in me, which means, basically my happiness depends on pleasing other people and problem solving and fixing and taking care of everybody, being a caretaker, kind of being a fixer for everybody, and it's really been not good for me. But not trying to fix people's problems in the workplace, not being codependent with these people and trying to solve their problems for them, because that is not the way to do it. Encouraging them to find support where they need it, just being compassionate, listening, ministering, basically what we do, as members of the church. We minister, we mourn with those who mourn, comfort those who stand in need of comfort. And, I think that it's pretty simple. We don't have to solve people's problems, but we can be understanding, and we can listen and try to help in situations that are hard when people are going through crisis, whatever kind of loss, whether it's death or divorce or whatever that happens, and the people we work with have to deal with it. And so we can be kind and understanding.
I think that I really like when they mentioned don't be a problem solver, because that can really avoid the next entanglement, which is workplace dating and relationships. Like, oh my gosh, the rebounds. Oh, glory. Like, no,
Yeah,
do not date until a year after your divorce. You are not ready.
Right.
Let's see.
Yeah, it says keep your distance and avoid being the go-to person for divorce issues. Maintain your role as a manager. Don't become a therapist.
Yeah, I think that would be challenging for me to not want to play more of like a therapeutic role. As it would be hard for me to keep my distance, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing someone in so much hurt and like wanting to be their friend but having to be their manager would be hard.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and frankly, my advice wouldn't be good anyway. It's like, oh, my spouse is doing this. I'm like, here's how you stop it. Here's how you end it today. But they're like, I'm not ready. I'm like, whatever, man. Continue floundering. Enjoy.
Yeah. So,
Let's see.
yeah, lots of family issues. And I think the substance abuse and addiction stuff goes right along with that. When you're dealing with that kind of stuff, it's just as traumatic, as if not worse than divorce, or divorce may stem from some of those issues. And
so would you give employees like time off, or how would you handle, like, because it said they don't work as hard, they're
not as productive. Production goes down. That's a good, I don't know.
I feel like even though they're not as productive, going to work is like, I feel like it's good for them to be getting out of the house,
Getting their mind off.
work, like going through the motions. Because if they had time off and all they had all day to do was to focus on, oh, this is what I'm going through, and just going into that spiral of my life stinks, I think it'd be worse off for them than going to work, getting having to focus outside of themselves for a few hours a day. So I don't think I would necessarily encourage time off.
That made me. Go ahead, Shelby.
Well, I'm thinking because divorces, especially if there's kids, and there usually are, like family court is the Holocaust for women. Like they expect you to raise your children like you don't have a job and to work like you don't have kids. That is the expectation. And so if someone comes up to me and says, I have a divorce, I'm like, okay, I'm the boss. I'm like, all right, well, I'm willing to give you the time you need to do like family court things, appointments during the day, because, when you're at work, you're like, okay, I gotta, I gotta hoard my resources so I can use them for this thing, because it's gonna suck up everything. But I would also counsel them, with that time off, when you're here, I need you here. And, for 8 hours a day, that is not your biggest problem. And that's almost a relief. Like, I don't have to worry about that while I'm here, to just say, hey, I can give you some extra resources or time off to help you through this. But in exchange, I need you totally here. And I just counsel you that for 8 hours, you get a break from that problem over there.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
What you said, Jesse and Shelby, kind of like made me think about office drama. Like when people start bringing their negativity and just like spewing it at work, and you can just, the negativity that just comes, and I don't know, I wish we had some kind of direction on that in this class, how to deal with that, because office drama is the worst.
Okay.
Especially an office full of catty women, and that are just like bent on, sharing their drama and negativity with everybody. What do you do with people like that?
I'm going to be right back. I have a piece of paper that's going to help us with this.
You guys have been there, right? You've worked with people who are just like negative and like drama queens. And it's usually women.
Yeah. Kind of get caught up on that. You don't want to be part of it, but it's an awkward situation.
So take a picture and send it to us, but when you're done or something. But I want it.
So the problem we have in the house we have here is we have, there's a couple of teenagers, and one of those teenagers in particular likes to create drama for the purpose of, manipulating her environment and the people around her. So we've got our whiteboard down here, the employee resource board. I'm not kidding, we have this set up. And everyone has their own color of dry erase marker, so we can have conversations with each other, but everyone knows who says what because of the colors. So we started on the board writing days without drama, and like how many days there had been no drama in the house because the kids were gone for a while. And so we're like, every day we change it, and it's like days without workplace injury. And it's structured the same way. So now I'm thinking, okay, so then me and my sister are talking, and we say, okay, if we're counting days without drama, we also need to quantify what is drama. And we use the context of an OSHA reportable to define it. What constitutes a reportable, a reportable drama, in which case we have to reset it to 0. So we brainstormed, and my sister, she wrote on the whiteboard, days without drama, #0 reportables. What constitutes drama? And then like what the things are that people do that make drama. And so then we had like a little comment section where other people could write things. And then I typed it up into this draft copy for review, which is the policy on drama. So, days without drama guidelines. Drama is defined as non-constructive conversations, bodily movements including or administering harm to another body, verbal hostility, i.e. screaming, threatening manipulation of environment, such as door slamming, gossip with intent to create conflict, silent treatment with intent to manipulate another person. So this is a draft copy that's up on the whiteboard for review. And then we've got below remediation for causing reportable drama events selected below. So we have the remediation phase that we're now establishing. So by the time the drama-laden person comes back, we're going to have a printed, signed, sealed, delivered copy of what's not allowed to prevent drama. And we're counting it on the board. Thank you, OSHA.
That's awesome. No, those are such good things, because it's so hard.
It's all just people management. Yeah.
Yeah. The drama triangle. Ugh.
Yeah, that's my contribution to workplace productivity, is a reduction of drama.
I love it. Love it.
So,
well, here, let me share my screen again, and we can check and see if we're done with what we were supposed to do. Substance abuse, check. Divorce, family issues, check. Work, home balance, check. Same-sex relationship, check. Workplace dating, check. All right. What have you learned in this class about HR management?
Yeah, I don't want to repeat my answers from the final. I was very bitter yesterday, and it came out in the answers. I was not kind.
Okay, topics.
It's always great when you can quote Atlas Shrugged in your HR final.
All right. Well, do we have anything else? I mean, that's it.
How do you think the workplace will change in 10 years?
Oh yeah, that one.
I don't think there's gonna be a workplace in 10 years. Have you seen the world stage? Lol.
I think, oh boy, I think it'll be a different dynamic. I'll be 50. Holy cow. I think our young people will change it, and hopefully for the better, but kind of reading some of those articles this week about like the boss who's like these kind of new things for the boss, like is with the employees, and like like openness, and like kind of these new modern trendy kind of things, you know. I can see more of that.
To me, it seems like a good thing. Like, it'll get flexible, like job satisfaction will go up. But I know that there are worries with not having structure, because productivity could decrease and less people. I don't know. I know there's cons.
I think HR wise, like as the baby boomer generation like leaves and dies off, the last embers of the industrial revolution of like me boss, you slave, you work, me, like that sort of caveman mentality of just strict hierarchy. I think that's going to fade away, and it's going to be replaced by like what works for the employees, because the employees are working for us. So I think that trend will continue, and I think technology helps that as well. But the double-edged sword of that is technology is also creating a lot of automation that's going to displace a lot of workers. And frankly, if you've looked around in our country, it's a country about half full of people who don't actually know how to do anything, or more, because you've got people who there's generational poverty, and so there's no real role models of how to work, how to get a job, how to gain a skill. And so there's that, but you also have like this, that you've got schools and universities, like church universities excluded, of course, but they're churning out millions of college graduates who have no clue how the real world functions and don't really know how to work. So they're going to be the first to get displaced. And I don't know how that goes with that massive shift, but it started after it's really got going after the recession, the Great Recession of like 07, 08. So many people got laid off, and the companies, they haven't really taken them back yet, because automation does what a lot of the people used to do. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see how those two forces collide.
Yeah, I think, well, one of the things that frustrates me, kind of touched on when I graduate, I will have like job experience, and I'm still gonna have to get jobs that don't require necessarily a degree to gain experience. So that's kind of frustrating that I'll have to take the time to put in experience when I feel like I didn't get experience, but I've already put in so much time and hard work to gain the degree. So that's kind of frustrating.
Well, remember, I think a lot about the Henry B. Eyring dedication of BYU Idaho as a 4-year university after the transition from Ricks College 2-year to BYU Idaho 4-year. And something he said always stood out to me. And he said that this is, quality institution. And he said, and I am prepared to say this prophetically, that the students of BYU Idaho will become legendary for their capacity to add value wherever they serve. And now that I've seen, like, as far as my degree, I have very few classes left until my degree. For the 2-year, I literally have 2 classes left. For the 4-year, I've got 2, and then for the minor, I've got 2 classes. But now that I've seen a lot of the curriculum involved in what I'm doing, I can see how that would be true, because the function of BYU Idaho is to help people add value, not to teach a prepackaged set of ideas, i.e. propaganda. So BYU Idaho tends to look at the functional aspects and how to really use these ideas as tools as opposed to I know Christopher Columbus raped the Americas. Like there's the rote facts, and then there's the concepts and the ideas. And I think church colleges, especially BYU, Idaho, Pathway even, I think they're going to gain a reputation, and I think that having a degree from these institutions will tend to get your foot in the door more, because it's not going to scream precious little snowflake on a job application.
Shelby, that's really insightful. I never ever thought about that. Thank you. That's
really was helpful for me today, especially.
well, sometimes like I get on and I read the comments about a lot of these classes, and there's frustration sometimes. But what you just said about the approach being completely different in our education here at BYUI is, and kind of it makes more sense now. It's like, gotta save that little thought. Thank you.
I helped. I'm glad I talked to you today. Yesterday, I would not have helped.
Yeah, you needed that day yesterday.
I did. I was real happy about that.
But yeah, I've liked this class because of all the new topics they brought up that I didn't think about in management before. Like, I don't know, it gave me a lot of good ideas on how to be a different but better manager in the future, of course.
Oh, hey, Olivia just emailed us. She says, what day do we want her part of the doohickey paper? What's she doing?
She's doing the layoffs. She's going to focus more on the seasonal.
Should we say Friday?
Yeah.
Do you want to by end of day Friday or beginning of day?
Either way is fine. I've got Saturday. I can work on it. So it's due Monday, right?
Yeah.
So I would say like Friday morning.
I'm putting Friday noon. Is that acceptable?
That's fine.
That works. You probably want to get mine in. Probably like 10.
That's fine. I've got got a day there. I can work on it. So
okay.
I'll turn it in on Monday. So all right. Well, I'll stop this.